share with you my cord cutting experience. So I have Fios, and this is my package. It comes with 310 channels and 91 are in HD. My rate is going up $20 a month in 2 months for the exact same package that I have now. So I looked at custom packages and I looked at this preferred HD package, which is like a step down. And they're all going to still cost me more money, regardless which one I took. If I took this one, in order to get all the channels, and so I printed out this comparison list and I highlighted all the channels that we watch so I could figure out what packages. 2 packages come with it, but in order to get all the channels that we watch, I actually need 3 packages. So that's going to make it just as expensive as pretty much staying right where I'm at. All right, so there's a few things I think that is important when you go to become a cord cutter. The first thing is figure out what channels you're going to watch. The second thing is find out what channels you can get over the air through your HD antenna. The next step would be figuring out what online options you have, followed by what kind of features like DVR that you require. And then how are you going to get that service all tied in together? So those are somewhat challenging in each area, but building a good package is where the real challenge is. And then above all, you have to ensure that you don't slip into subscription creep. That's where you start paying for, this service, that service, and another service, and more services, and these other services on a monthly schedule, just so you can watch the 8 or so channels that you're actually wanting to subscribe to. And when I did this list, I found outside of local channels, there were only 8 channels that my wife and I actually watch. So out of 310, I'm watching 8 of them. So why am I paying $127 a month for this? So it's the TV, it's the internet, and it's $20 a month for their box, their DVR box. Okay, so what was my solution? My solution was pretty simple. I already have an over-the-air HD antenna. I bought it 2 years ago, but it's been hooked up to a TV in the basement that I just use. It's the only TV that's got a DVD player on it, so we watch movies there. It's like the theater room. And I never watch TV on that TV, but I got that HD antenna hooked up to it. Anyway, so you need an HD antenna, and you need to make sure you got the antenna set up correctly and the right type of antenna. So that's really step one, because you're going to have to pull in local channels. All right. So what I did was I went to this antenna point, and as step one, I could type in my zip code, right? And when I hit enter, this will tell me all the channels that I can get from my area, all right, where all the transmit towers are. And I transferred all this, just for simplicity for myself, into an Excel spreadsheet. And I only did this so I could highlight the channels that I was interested in and get the coordinates for that channel, and also to figure out if they were UHF or VHF. And what this tells me between UHF and VHF is what type of antenna do I need. Most of the ultra high frequency broadcasts are the ones that I would need, but there are still 2 that are in VHF that I would want to pull in. So regardless, I need to lean toward a UHF antenna with some VHF services. So if you were in an area that you just had UHF signals, then you just need a UHF antenna, right? Okay, so I just did this because I needed the direction for the antenna, and looking over here, I can see that this is, if I did like a 060 for these channels, that'd be a really good direction, all right? And they're all about 30 miles away from me. So it gives me my range. I need an antenna that can do UHF, 30 miles, and I just point it 060. Okay, so this will pull in my local stuff. That's great. So I got that step. My next step was trying to figure out my other channels, right? So if here's Sling TV. Now I like Sling TV. It's $20 a month, but it gives me ESPN, ESPN2, AMC. I'm a huge Walking Dead fan. A&E, History, H2. I have Home and Garden, TBS, and TNT. So I think it's a good mix. $20 a month for this. So I have to write that down, right? $20 a month for Sling TV. So I have all the channels really in this package that I would watch, plus my local channels. All right. Now there's still some other stuff, right? Now I got to start pulling it together. I am an Amazon Prime member, so I have Amazon Fire TVs. I have two right now. I have one in the bedroom, which is this guy, the regular Fire TV, and I have that one in the bedroom because it can take an Ethernet connection, and the Wi-Fi in the bedroom is horrible, so I just use PowerLink, and then I can wire that with the Ethernet cable right through the power that runs through my house over to my router. Okay, so that's hardwired from the bedroom. I currently have a Fire TV stick like this on my main TV here in the den, but this is Wi-Fi only. It doesn't come wired, which means my signal from for Sling TV is kind of horrible. So I've ordered a new Fire TV to replace it, and then I'll just move this one to the theater room. Okay, so this is what I'll end up with, and the reason why I'm going to end up with this because they support Sling. And again, Sling gives me all those channels with basic package, right? And they've got other packages too. You can get the Sport Extras, all right? You can get HBO, $15 a month, Kid Extras, Hollywood Extras, all right? But again, just be careful of subscription creep when you can, and so you can compare this to what you're paying now to see if it really makes sense for you. All right, so I got my first box is going to get me Sling TV, which will give me those channels. So I got local channels and some custom channels. Now, I also have a subscription to Hulu. Hulu is about $8 a month. And regardless whether I have Fios or not, I would still have a Hulu account. And I would still have a Netflix account. Right? So Hulu and Netflix. The nice thing about Hulu is it kind of resolves me from needing to have a DVR, because a lot of the shows I can go back and they'll have replays on Hulu. It doesn't really do any live TV, but you can at least do replays of it, and hopefully catch your, because they're in phases. So Hulu's kind of iffy on whether or not I like it. I like it in some regards that I can catch some of the episodes. I don't like it in other regards that they phase out the episodes so quickly. So, but you can't like sit down one day and do like all season 3 Hannibal, right? Because they time out, then you can't get to the episode anymore. All right. Oh, I should also say that I am a Prime member, so I get Amazon Prime also, right? Okay. So I've got Amazon Prime for streaming, Sling TV taken care of with the Amazon Fire. I've got Hulu to catch some channels that maybe I can't get on Sling, and I'll just get them as replays. And of course, Netflix. Now again, Hulu, Netflix don't really count because I would have them regardless if I had Fios. And it's only $16 a month combined for those two. And then it's $20 a month combined for Sling. All right, so I'm at $46 a month total. Okay. So now I need to tie that all together. I was talking to a friend of mine who's also going through the same thing, and there's a really nice solution. Anybody remember TiVo? Sure. TiVo's been around for quite a while. It was one of the first DVR solutions out there. So they've also made an over-the-air antenna-only version. Now there is this one, which is their model up from there that will also do antenna. The nice thing about this one, if you're interested, is this one will also take a cable card or your Verizon card. This one won't, so over the air only. See, HD antenna only. So if you can use this one to try out your OTA solution, your cord cutting solution, and then if it doesn't work out for you, you can roll back to your cable provider with this box. Now, the subscription for TiVo is $15 a month, but I paid $20 a month for my Fios box. So you're still going to end up saving probably about $5 a month by using this, right? Now, this OTA box, the one that I bought, I can record up to 4 channels or 4 shows at once, where my Fios box I could only do 2. So that's pretty good. It also comes with a 75 500 hour, sorry, what is it? It's like a 500 gig hard drive actually. It says 500 hours of recording capacity, but I think it's like 75 hours of HD. And it's a 500 gig drive, I think it is. Anyway, but there is an attachment on the back of this thing so you can hook up a external SATA drive if you want to expand it. Now I've seen a video on YouTube where some guy cracks this open and puts like a 1 or 2 terabyte drive in there. I'm not interested in breaking anything open, regardless whether I could do it. I could just plug in a drive on the external port and be done with it. So I bought this as my bundled solution. So my service is $15 a month. Now this is $49.99. I got it for actually nothing because I had a reward zone coupon with Best Buy, and they sell this at Best Buy. So I just showed up, picked up the only one they had, and walked out of there for nothing. This one, there is someplace on this website. My friend picked up this one for $49.99, same price as this, with a lifetime subscription for the life of this box for like $250. So it's a renew box, so it's not brand new, but it's refurbed. It still comes with their continual care warranty. And I want to point out their warranty because when I bought this, Best Buy wants to sell me the Geek Squad extended warranty for it, but you really don't need it because with continual care, as long as you're paying your subscription fee, this is covered for break fix. And if it dies, they'll replace it. So consider that, right? So no, $50 out the door, good to go. All right. So what is this? What would this do? This box, I can program my Amazon Prime account into, my Hulu account, and my Netflix account. The great thing about hooking those other accounts into the TiVo box is that the TiVo box can, like when I go to select it, can record streams either over the air or through these other subscription services. So let's say Hulu releases like a new show of Hannibal, because I used that as an example before. The TiVo should go out and fetch that new episode and pull it in as part of my one-pass subscription. I hope that's what I'm thinking. Other than that, I really don't care. I've got 4 shows at once, and if it's on Hulu, I can go and play it anyway. All right, so I've got my channels are going to be provided by Sling over the air, and then augmented by Hulu and Netflix. And the Fire TV will deliver me Sling, and then of course I have an over-the-air antenna, and I'm going to power line this in. So like my Fire TV, this will be hardwired into my power panel, so I'll get up to 200 megabits per second through the house, at least down to my Wi-Fi router, which is important for good streaming, and my DVR services are all there. Okay, now the next point was making it wife friendly. If your wife is anything like my wife, this is wife friendly. Now, one other reason why this makes this remote wife friendly is that we've had a TiVo before. We had a TiVo in 2006. So from 2006 to 2008, we were using a TiVo until we moved into this house when we got Fios and our first DVR. Okay, so we have this very nice remote. What's really nice too is I have a sound bar, and I program this to work on my sound as well. So it controls the sound bar, controls everything. I can switch it over to my Fire TV as well, and that's the only downside, because then I need my Fire TV remote. But 90% of my television is really going to be on this remote. Again, wife friendly, right? When I get the new remote with the voice text here, she'll be able just to pull this up, and I'll go through this with you to show you how it works. But it always has like a menu of recent items, and you just click this on, click on the Sling TV, go to the channel you want to watch, hit play, and you're done. Couldn't be simpler. Wife friendly. This is what we had. Harmony remote. Let me put those side by side. Wife friendly, not wife friendly. If any glitches happen with this remote, let's say with the soundbar, I have this one available. Sometimes the soundbar automatically turns itself off. No idea why. I think just because maybe the TV was paused for too long, which happens if you pause the show. She answers the phone, comes back, hits play to catch up on the show, and there's no sound. She has to pull this out to turn the soundbar back on. Oh, and let's say you want to switch over to Fire TV. Well, this has an input. In order to get on input here, you got to use these menus and select the right screen, or you use this remote. And then you got an input button here on this remote, so you can switch the Sony over to Fire TV. Now let's say you want to do anything related to the DVR, right? So I want to look at past shows, etc. There we go. Sure, you can kind of do it with this one, but sometimes it'll get you. And if you want to look at on-demand stuff, be careful. Again, not wife-friendly. I could figure this out, but these still remain in the drawer because my wife doesn't like to get pissed off when things start turning off. Or when she needs to hunt and peck, hit this menu screen, get to these other screens, figure out what's going on, and then it says help and go to this button, go next, 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 and did that fix it and all that, right? So that's too much, all right? Wife friendly. Okay, so this is my easy setup. I have an LG soundbar. The house was built a while ago, so they got this big recessed area that used to put those big CRT screens in. We don't have a big CRT screen anymore, but we've got this. So it sits in there, and the sound bar is here because the speakers to the screen are on the side and at the back, and you had to turn the TV up really loud in order to hear it when you're sitting out here. So the sound bar is optically connected so that all the sound comes out to us. Okay, the TiVo box. This is the over-the-air only version, and of course my dusty Sony TV. So let's turn this all on. One button. Soundbar's on. TV's on. The Sony does boot up kind of slow. Okay. So let's take a quick look at the guide. Now, this is not the default layout to the guide. They've got their own, like a two-pane default. This is the grid guide, and it is an option that you can select. This is wife-friendly. She can pull it up, see what's on, see what's coming on, and these are all over-the-air channels. So let's go to Fox. Right? Very nice. This is all really clear, uncompressed signal.
The job, at least you'll be like, I gave my all. You know what I mean? I did everything I could. You hate to be like, if only I had done this. Sometimes you half-ass it just because you ain't got it in you. You know what I mean?
You do get a lot of channels you might not want. So I'm going to go through the list and select. You can go through here, which I always had kind of a problem with the FiOS control is to remove channels that I don't want to see. And with this, you can go in and into settings, go to channels, and then go to your channel lineup. And then you can select or deselect channels that you do or don't want to see on the list. Okay, so we'll skip that for now. Let's go to Find Movies. And you can see here I've got my 3 accounts plugged in. And it'll have other things here, but I deselected those. I've been playing around a lot with the options to help get this customized. Again, just to streamline everything and to make it easy to use. But I can go over here to search, and let's say we want to search for Hannibal. There it is. So there's Hannibal. Now we can see that it's on Amazon Prime or Hulu Plus. So if it says Amazon Prime, that means it's on my Prime, and I shouldn't have to pay for it. It's also on my One Pass, so to record any channels that it gets or streaming. So let's see what we can do here. I'm going to go back. And here's my, oops, sorry. Manage recordings. Now let's go to my shows. All right, so here are some of the things that we watch. Hannibal, The Blacklist. Oh shoot, I got to put on Blind Spot. We're going to start recording that one. It's about ready to come out. The Walking Dead, Live Free or Die, Gotham. All right, so let's go into Hannibal. And we can see this one. And it gives you this option. I can watch it now on either Hulu Plus or Amazon Instant Video. Now I have no idea, even though it says Prime, if this is going to work. I saw it on Hulu, but it didn't launch, so I'm going to try Amazon Prime this time, just to see if it works. And so it gives me an option here to buy it. So I'm not going to do that, but it's nice to know that I can just use this one remote and get right to what I need. Okay, exit the application. Alright, management recordings, music and videos. If you're going to hook up, we have a Spotify account. You have to have a premium account to put that in there. Apps and games, you're on that. And of course, all your settings. I'm not going to go through everything, but audio settings, your channels, I told you a little bit about that. You can select which ones, do your channel scan, look at your signal strength for your antenna, display, customize display bar. If you want to get rid of all that stuff, lights on the front of the TiVo box. I haven't looked at that one yet. Network, I'm hardwired in. Recording, you got a bunch of recording options. You can set up your One Pass recording options there. Remote, you'll go into here to set up your remote control. So I can get that sound bar and stuff programmed here. I would go right there. Then of course you want to put in external storage. Like I said, why crack open the case? Just plug it in right there in the back of the box. And then video.
Cities that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, all right, so it looks pretty good. Okay, so let's go to the last thing. All right, so now I got my live TV going, right? And now I want to switch over to look at Sling. So I just go to Input on my remote, switch it to my Fire TV. Now, the Fire TV stick goes to sleep, right? So it's, even though you see that it's on, for some reason it takes it a little while to actually boot up, or to start working again. It's got to get its IP address and all that. But in the recent items, there's Sling. So again, let's talk about wife friendly. I switch this on. I just go to Sling, hit that. This is so much faster on the regular Fire TV. And I was watching AMC last night, Fear the Walking Dead. But you can see ESPN, ESPN2, AMC, TNT, A&E. Oh, and here's your guide, right? So what's on now, what's coming on, History Channel, H2, TBS, whatever that is. Yeah. Okay. And then when she's, she's done with this, you just have to go back to inputs and switch it to HDMI 1. Now this TV it doesn't give me an option to get rid of all those menus. The one we have in our bedroom, I've got it just disabled so she would only be able to switch between HDMI 1 and HDMI 2. But, so there's other customizations you can do, but I mean this couldn't be simpler, right? And I'm getting all the channels that I want to have and I'm getting all the channels that we actually watch.
Better than anyone, we know our bodies.
And it's a nice picture.
Good to listen to your own
All right, let me show you
gut
the setup. Okay, that's my 2-year-old antenna right there. And there's a preamp, right? You can't see it, but it's right underneath. Let me see if I can zoom in. It's right underneath where that cable is. There's a preamp. And the cable comes down the side of the house over here and into my junction box. And then there I have a splitter that's a 1-to-4 splitter. Even though they tell you not to use a splitter, it works fine. So preamps up there on the antenna, goes into a power pass 4-way splitter here, and then up to the TV. So I've got a cable coming out of here, goes into the TiVo box, HDMI out of the TiVo box into here, and then here's the Fire TV stick. It's kind of dark in the picture here, but that's the stick, HDMI cable. Here's the optical sound cable that goes to my sound bar, and then the Ethernet to the TiVo box is right there. This white box right here at the bottom. See the green lights on it? Now that's a power line, power link, and Ethernet goes plugged into that, and it comes down into the back of the TiVo box for all the streaming services. Now the power link, if you haven't seen these are pretty cool. You can get like a starter kit. It's got like 200 megabits per second, which is more than my service anyway. I'm getting 25 megabits per second. So these are 200 megabits per second, and I got well, you start with a 2-pack, and you plug one in by your router, and then there's switch ports on the back of the router, and you just plug the switch into here, into the one down there, and then you take this other one and you install it at your other location, like this one's here, right, for the TV, and then I plug an Ethernet cable into it, and then what happens is it routes the Ethernet from the router, wherever the router is located, through the entire power panel, and then it's received right here on this. So I really like these things. I've got a couple of packs of them. I use it now for this TV, and I use it for the bedroom TV. That way I can get a wired connection instead of having to rely on Wi-Fi, especially when you're streaming stuff to televisions, the high def and everything. It's better to have a wired connection than worry about Wi-Fi. Okay, so some of these others are just that's the Fire TV outlet. These are for other devices that I'm using. That's for the inline power thing. So I had the preamp, and the preamp has another piece of it, which is right there, that the cable is coming out of the wall, plugs into that, and that's the power module, and then that screws into the back of the TiVo. All right, so that makes a very nice full package solution for me. Obviously results vary, and if you watch a lot more channels, you might not be able to come up with the same solution, but it works for me, it works for my household. And when I showed my wife after it was all said and done and set up, I showed it to her, and she was like, okay, because it was easy to use, and it's going to save us about $100 a month. Let's break all that down. Okay, this is my setup and how I broke everything down, and all the steps that I went through to design it. So the first thing I had to do was obviously locate which channels I actually watched. And like I said, out of the 310 channels, I really only watched about 8 of them, not including the local channels. So that was step one. Locate what channels that I found that I needed, or that I wanted at least, to watch when I cut the cord. Step two is identify what over-the-air capabilities are available in my area. I went to Antenna Point, put in my zip code, did a search, and that pulled up all the local channels relatively close to me, and I was able to identify the heading, that's about 060 from my house,
and the distance of about 30 miles. And it would also break down which channels were UHF and what channels were VHF. And like I said, that part is really important as well as how far it is, because the antenna that you do eventually choose must be geared for one or the other. And in some cases you can get one like mine does both, but which one is primary, UHF or VHF? So identify what's available in your area. Step 3 was really identify a source of streaming television that I could find that could augment my over-the-air antennas. Now, I typically don't use Hulu, although it's a non-subscription service, so if I needed to watch anything, I would subscribe, watch, do my marathon session, and once it's over, unsubscribe. But augmenting it with this particular over-the-air cord-cutting solution might prove to be a little bit more beneficial. The jury's still out on that one. I'm not really sure. We'll see how it moves along. Because there's really only a few shows, like Hannibal, that I watch, but Hannibal's on NBC. So I can't go back now and watch them on Hulu because they've expired on Hulu. So either I can pay for them later or just wait till the next season comes out. And sometimes they marathon the old seasons before they start the new ones. Okay, so the key step for me in part 3 was just identifying where I could find the other channels that I couldn't get over the air. Step 4, and if you've made it this far, you're really close to getting your solution together. But what other options? My thought process was, did I need a DVR? Was ease of use really important? And in my case, it was. It needed to be something familiar for my wife to use, and also easy. Get rid of excess remotes, not tie up a bunch of other stuff. The next thing that I wanted was an ability to tie in a bunch of other services into whatever the final solution would be. So I picked the Romeo OAT, over the air, HD antenna only box, because it allowed me to plug in my Amazon Prime account, my Netflix account, and my Hulu account. But I still required the Fire TV because Fire TV gives me Sling. Now I would have dropped Fire TV altogether if I could have got Sling on the TiVo. But I'll keep Fire TV, and I'm actually upgrading the main room here to the new Fire TV with 4K Ultra HD. So we'll see how that all turns out. But it does wrap up all the channels quite nicely. So let's break down my financial analysis. And this is really the final step. I've got all the information together, but what is it costing me now, and what is it going to cost me later? First of all, Fios. So my Fios was running me about $100 a month. On top of that, that gave me 310 channels, 15 meg of internet, up and down, and then I still had to rent their DVR for $19.99 a month. I have a no subscription to Netflix for $8.99. And what I mean by that is I can turn on or off the account. There's no long-term commitment, like a year or 2 years. So I can get rid of Netflix if I so choose. So a non-subscription account to Netflix. Same thing for Hulu, $8.99 for Hulu. That comes to a whopping $137.96 a month. And if I drop the subscription services, then it's still $119.98 a month. All right, so what am I looking at as far as cord cutting? $14.99 for the TiVo Guide subscription. Like I said, it's kind of a wash there for me because I've got to pay for the DVR for Fios, and that's $19.99. The big difference is my Fios DVR would only record 2 channels, where the TiVo will record up to 4. Plus, there was other tie-ins with the TiVo, like tying it into my Netflix account, my Amazon Prime, Hulu, and then if I had other services, I could tie those in as well into the TiVo account, which I cannot do in the Verizon. Now, I couldn't find Verizon Fios internet-only pricing, so I found one for Comcast. Now Comcast is offering 25 megabits for $29.99, and that's just what I'm going to use as part of this financial exercise. I will call Fios or Verizon before I discontinue my service and find out what their pricing would be, but I know for a fact that it'll be at least $29.99. Sling TV. It's also no subscription, but it is $20 a month. That's the most expensive non-subscription service that I have, but it offers me the most channels: ESPN, ESPN2, AMC, and History channels, among a few others. Those are the primary ones. Then the no subscription for Netflix, $8.99. And of course Hulu for $8.99. This comes to $82.96 a month. And if I removed all the subscription services, it would be $44.98 a month. So I'm saving about $55 a month, including all the subscription services. Getting rid of those services, I'm saving $75 a month. That's pretty significant, and I'm paying only what I need. I mean, think about it. I could literally be paying $45 a month for over-the-air TV and internet, and then on demand for Sling, Netflix, and Hulu. So what are the components that you have to think about when you're building your own cord cutting solution? First is whatever your antenna is going to cost. Now, I don't remember what mine cost, but it wasn't $100. But I did find that BJ's Warehouse or Wholesale Club, whatever that is selling the Clearstream 4, I think that's what it's called, the Clearstream Extreme 4, for $99. And that supports a lot of UHF and some VHF. I might pick up that antenna, but right now what I got that's 2 years old is doing pretty good. Then you need an antenna preamp in most cases. Again, I'm not really sure how much I paid for mine, but it's just a cheap Radio Shack version, and I'm pretty sure it was less than $25. It does really well with the antenna that I have today, and even through that splitter, the signal quality is really good. But let's just say $25. The TiVo box will typically run you about $50. Now, I did get mine for free because I had a Reward Zone coupon. I don't really shop there very often, but I did just recently buy a Mac, and that's probably what gave me the coupon. Anyway, the TiVo box for me was free, but it will likely cost $50. Now, the Fire TV is $100. It's $99 actually. It's $100, but if you don't want Sling, you really don't need that. You can also go with the Fire TV stick, which is fine. I just prefer the box to be wired in because if I'm streaming TV, I want the best, highest quality, and fastest signal capable. So I'm going to say $100 for that. Now, realistically, I don't have to use the Fire TV either because I already have one that I'm currently using in another room. And by currently using, I mean that I might stream something to that TV once a month. So I could really just pull that one out of that room, plug it in the TV that I have here, and move the stick right back to that room. Anyway, still factor about $100 if you want Sling TV. And then of course the power line. None of this wired solution would really work as well as it does without bringing that internet directly hardwired to my devices. So the starter kit is about $30. That comes to a whopping $305 initial investment in just these components. If I break that down over 24 months, which is the typical term for Verizon, Fios, or Comcast, that's $12.71 a month. I think that's pretty good. Had I been running that already for the last 2 years, I would have saved a lot of money. So essentially that's what you need to do in order to build your own cord cutting solution. Find the channels that you want, find out where you can locate the other channels, find out what kind of channels are available in your area through over the air, and then figure out what part of the solution actually makes a good package for you. For me, the TiVo box, along with Fire TV, really pull a really nice, eloquent, easy to use, and non-complex solution together. I hope this helped a few of you out there, maybe gave you some ideas. I'm going to put in the description link a bunch of the stuff that I used and referenced today, so you can do your own research as well. Thanks a lot.